Welcome back to a video I should have probably made last year. This is another review video regarding the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which came out last year, and the most important reason why probably I didn't make this video yet was there's a couple of new features like the cinematic mode which I wasn't too comfortable with. So I just want to do like a nice review, go through everything and really see what is cinematic mode. Is it worth upgrading just for that reason? What other new features is really nice, and you'll probably see all those new sections. So the new iPhone 13 Pro Max is a big phone. It has big lenses, massive battery, looks great, performs great, has a couple of new features. So what is so special about this phone? So let's start looking at the photo modes. So obviously the first part's the wide lens. You can clearly see on the left hand side of the image it looks a bit more better saturation, so I think that's what I started looking at. You'll also see from the next picture that it looks more natural in a way. I just want to mention that both of these pictures were taken exact same settings. One exported mode, one on the left is the iPhone 13 Pro Max. It just looks a bit more natural, the coloring as well, sharper in like small detail. I think from the next image you can also see that it looks very similar. I think that the biggest difference will come in night mode. So from the next image which is taken in the street, you'll see the right hand picture. It's the iPhone 12 Pro Max. It's a bit brighter. The one on the left is a bit darker but more sharper, so it comes down to the angle possibly. Next one is, as you can see, it's very similar close. I think from this image you can see on the left it looks a bit brighter. Again, it might just be angle, but obviously I think the sensor is a bit bigger so it lets in more light. So the iPhone 13 Pro Max obviously has the 3x zoom compared to the iPhone 12 Pro Max, which is a 2.5x, which makes a massive difference for me. So like I said, the best thing about the phone is the night photography. They really solved a lot of issues. Left hand side 13 Pro Max, right hand side 12 Pro Max, and it's clearly, you can see the winner. This next picture also shows you like what a pitch dark night would look like if you took a photo on the beach with just a fire. So I think it really came out beautiful. So again, for the video mode you have the 3x video compared to the 2.5x of the iPhone 12 Pro Max, and it just brings it closer to you. Then you have the macro video mode, which is insane. So you can keep zooming in, and it shows you all this nice texture and detail, whereas obviously iPhone 12 Pro Max doesn't have that feature. So for the new iPhone you're only still limited to 120 FPS as well as 240 FPS, although I have to say, looking at the images on the left, which is the new iPhone, it does look a bit brighter and there is better quality in it, so that's a big upgrade for me. Obviously the closer image that you can get with the new 3x zoom helps a lot and gives you the same quality that you had, just much closer. And then I have to mention again, in video mode as well, you can see the natural colors is much better on the new iPhone on the left hand side. So cinematic mode is where they take industry standard sort of rack focusing and put it like in a feature that's done by software to sort of do like a focus, like basically portrait video mode. And what I've seen so far is it's great in some circumstances. I've seen that when there's a lot of light available, it makes it a bit tricky to do that. Although I will say the lens flares with either street lights or the moon or the sun, it does look a bit better on cinematic than just normal video mode that I've seen. Although I have to say, in some set scenarios it looks very beautiful. The biggest problem would be the halo that everyone's been complaining about. So it creates like the sort of outer shield that you can clearly see on the video for the cinematic mode, which obviously is a concern, but it will just get better in the new iterations as they go on. I'll also say that cinematic mode in general is a new trend setting. I would even predict and say in the next 2 years you might not need maybe a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera, with the way that these new phones are being made. So it's really getting intense and really amazing at what phones can push out nowadays. Just to give an idea, I've actually recorded a ProRes video on this phone. It's a massive file, and it's one of my latest video that I've actually uploaded on YouTube, the hiking video. I think it's called the Deer Park Hiking Trail. So there you can clearly see the difference between that and all my other hikes that I've made, just to see what ProRes looks like. I wouldn't recommend it, and the biggest reason for that is I think for the amount of better quality that you really get compared to what I'm used to shooting, it's really not that different, if I can say that. I think that if you have a really trained eye, you might see it, but for a normal person, maybe like me, for me it's not a big change. But the biggest concern is that it takes 9 gigs to make a 2-minute video, and it takes, for the other videos that I've made, for a 10-minute video, it takes about 1 gig. Just to give an idea for the full movie that I render afterwards. Obviously the best thing about this phone is the battery. It's better than a previous model, it lasts you the whole day. From this image in front of you, it sort of shows you how it depletes over time. So the last charge was Friday, 9:30, and the 17th of October last year was on a Sunday. So there was a full weekend. The screen on time was only 2 hours. So I just wanted to show you that it evenly reduces throughout the day, even if you don't use it. Now that's what you want on a phone. You don't want to see these sudden drops in battery percentage. So looking at the two histograms in front of you, the top part is the battery usage, the green one, the bottom one is the activity. So what I want you to see from this graph is that it's the amount of screen on time compared to the battery usage. So for every 2 hours, if you look at Saturday used, you're looking at about 25% battery usage. So let's say you have an 8-hour screen on time, you're looking at about 100% battery. That's excellent. So this slide also proves the previous one, where you can see the biggest day was 5.5 hours of screen on time. Compared to the battery usage, you were left with like 40% almost battery. So that's 5.5 hours using 65% of your battery. So that clearly tells a great story of how great this battery is. Then I just wanted to mention something about the stabilization. So it's great for both 1x as well as 3x zoom, which is pretty cool. It bounces a bit with 3x, but it does sort of manage it. So the new iPhone has adaptive refreshing at 120 Hz. It might sound like a minor upgrade, but after you've started using it, I asked myself, why haven't I implemented this a long time ago? It's really so soothing. It feels just comfortable scrolling through your phone. So to conclude this video, I've said this with the previous iPhone as well, that if you want to upgrade to this one for the camera, it might not be that big of a wow. If you can see from the videos and photos I've taken and compared, it's really not so different. I think it has a lot of the same features, although it has the new macro photo mode as well as the macro video mode with the cinematic mode, which is pretty cool. I won't lie, it is cool, and if you can make it work, you can make it work. But my biggest take since the iPhone 12 Pro Max was, I always say, my biggest concern in phones currently is battery life. So I would love a phone to stick 1 full day of battery life. Now, this phone and the previous model, which I was really happy about the battery, this phone's even better than that one. I have to say that if there's one reason that I'll recommend someone to upgrade to this phone, the iPhone 13 Pro Max, it will be just because of the battery. So thanks guys for watching this review video. I hope you enjoyed it and you took something out from it, or you learned maybe something, and I'll see you on the next video.